Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining this morning. Our Shrimad class and attentive japa. Nice to have your association. I'm in India at the moment, but I want to continue our class. Been to a Mangalarti this morning, so if I look a bit sleepy, it's because I went to Mangalarti at ISKCON Dwarka. I think there's nearly 100 people there joining there this morning. It was a wonderful experience. And they got Rukmani and Dwarkadish deities. So it was absolutely beautiful. So let's make a start. And today we talking about manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu. It's really interesting. So this is in continuation of discussion between sage Maitreya and Vidur. So first sage Maitreya described how he came to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, as we were talking about earlier, and now describes Brahma's appearance on the lotus coming from the Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu's abdomen, and Brahma's vision of the Lord. Right. So let's do a quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum lam yate kirim yat kirpatam ham vande Shri Guru Deen Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Uduriyat Nashta Presha Badareshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Neshtaki. Hare Krishna. So the subtle subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed was agitated by the material mode of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen. So the creation is caused by the mode of passion, at least it's in line with the mode of passion, and whereas the mode of goodness is the maintenance of the material world, and the ignorance is the destruction by Lord Shiva. Piercing through this sum total form of the fruitive activity of the living entities took the shape of a bud of a lotus flower, as we know. And this generated by the personality of Vishnu. And by his supreme will, it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. In that universal lotus flower, Lord Vishnu personally entered as the super soul. And when it was thus impregnated with all the modes of material nature, the personality of Vedic wisdom, whom we call the self-born, was generated, which is Lord Brahma. This lotus flower is the universal Virat form, or the gigantic form of the Lord in the material world. It becomes amalgamated in the personality of Godhead Vishnu in his abdomen. At the time of dissolution, it becomes manifest at the time of creation. This is due to Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu, who enters into each of the universes. So in this form is the sum total of all the fluid activities of the living entities conditioned by material nature. So the material world is when it's created according to our material desires, is shaped for our material desires. And the first of them, namely Brahma, or the control of the universe, is generated from this lotus flower. This firstborn living being, unlike all others, has no material father, and such is called self-born, or Swambhu, self-born. He goes to sleep with Narayan at the time of devastation, and when there is another creation, he is born in this way. From this description, we have the conception of three: the gross Virat Rup, the subtle Hiranyagarbha, and the material creative force, Brahma. So these are the three things that are at the time of creation are visible. So Brahma, born out of the lotus flower, couldn't see the world. Although he was situated in the world, he therefore circumambulated all of space, and while moving his eyes in all directions, he achieved 4 heads in terms of the 4 directions. This is the reason he has 4 heads. But then there's Brahmas with 1,000 heads, so I don't know how that comes about. But here it's mentioned that the 4 heads, because Brahma was looking in 4 directions of what's where he is, he managed to manifest 4 heads. But how it works for the other Brahmas who have more than 4 heads, I'm not sure. So Lord Brahma, situated in that lotus, couldn't perfectly understand the creation, the lotus or himself. So this is what we were saying last week, that he was like totally confused. Although he knows something's going on and he has some kind of responsibility, but he has some confusion at the time. So at the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water and the lotus in great circular waves. So Lord Brahma was perplexed about his creation, the lotus and the world, even though he tried to understand them for 1 millennium, which is beyond calculation in the solar years of human beings. No one, therefore, can know the mystery of the creation and cosmic manifestation simply by mental speculation. So we have to read about it, we have to hear about it. Really can't work out this from the basis of the Big Bang Theory, which I think is probably even being rejected right now anyway, what the scientists tell us. So the human being is so limited in his capacity that without the help of the Supreme, he cannot hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord in terms of creation, continuance, and destruction. So we can't work it out how all these things happen, when they happen, how long this creation remains, and about partial creation and partial devastation, total devastation. We could never work it out. The scientists can only predict things, and then years down the line they change their mind, they find other things. At one time it's considered there's only so many grahas, planets. Now there's unlimited planets. They are slowly catching up, but we can find this straight from the scriptures. Even the distance of the sun is mentioned in the Hanuman Chalisa, whereas they're telling us now the distance of the sun is already mentioned in Hanuman Chalisa. So it's all there already, but because we are limited in our intelligence, in our knowledge, it takes us time if we try to find it ourselves. Lord Brahma, in his ignorance, contemplated, who am I that am situated on the top of this lotus? Wherefrom has it separated? There must be something downwards, and that from which this lotus has grown must be within the water. So this water is coming out, this lotus is coming out of the water on a stem, and he's wondering that maybe this root is right underwater. So he wants to investigate. The subject matter of the speculations of Brahma in the beginning regarding the creation of the cosmic manifestation is still a subject matter for mental speculators. The most intelligent man is he who tries to find the cause of his personal existence and that of the whole cosmic creation, and just tries to find the ultimate cause. If his attempt is properly executed with penance and perseverance, it is sure to be crowned with success. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered the water, because he's curious, like, where's this stem coming from? Where's this lotus flower coming from? Lord Brahma enters the water through the channel of the stem of the lotus. But in spite of entering the stem and going nearer to the navel of Vishnu, because that's where this is coming out from. So he's getting close and close to the navel of Vishnu. He couldn't trace out the root. By dint of one's personal endeavor, one may go near to the Lord. So similar with us, we may go near to the Lord, but without the Lord's mercy, one cannot reach the ultimate point. So this is the lesson here. Such understanding of the Lord is possible only by devotional service. as confirmed in Bhagavad-Gita, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati Yavan Yaschasami Tatvataha. It's 18.55 shloka. Lord Brahma was confused. How had he appeared there? What was the lotus origin? Where was the rest of creation? He looked down. Surely there was something in the water below from which this lotus had sprouted. He had nothing else to do at the time, apart from curiosity of what's going on. Where did he come from? And where is this lotus that I'm born from? Completely bewildered, Brahma climbed down the hollow of its stalk, thereby entering the Garbhodakaśāyī ocean. Still, he couldn't see its source. Lord Brahma held his breath and plunged deep within the waters. He searched for a long time, but found nothing. Lord Vishnu lay nearby, concealing himself by his own potency. So Lord Vishnu was there, but Lord Brahma couldn't see him. Unable to breathe much longer, he surfaced quickly back up and returned to the lotus. Even though he is the universal creator, without Lord's mercy, he couldn't even understand his own origin. So how he's born, he couldn't understand that without the Lord's mercy. So Lord Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out the source of his lotus seat. And while thinking of creating the material world, he could not understand the proper direction for such creative work. Excuse me. Nor could he find out the process for such creation. When Lord Brahma was perplexed about how to construct the material manifestation in the universe and went down within the water to find the means and the source of his lotus seat, he heard the word tapa vibrated twice. So tapa, tapa, he heard this noise being vibrated. Taking the path of tapa is the second birth of the desiring disciple. So word Parshanat is very significant in here. It is similar to Upanaya, or bringing the disciple near to the spiritual master for the path of tapa. So Brahmaji was first initiated by Lord Krishna, and this fact is corroborated by Brahmaji himself in his book of the Brahma Samhita. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma sang in every verse, Govindam Adipurusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Thus, Brahma was initiated by the Krishna mantra, by Lord Krishna himself. So, Lord Krishna was his spiritual master and he initiated him, and thus he became a Vaishnava. So, we are part of the Brahma Sampradaya, or a devotee of the Lord. Before he was able to construct this huge universe, it is stated that in the Brahma Samhita, that Lord Brahma was initiated into the 18th letter Krishna mantra, which is generally accepted by all devotees of Lord Krishna. We follow the same principle because we belong to the Brahma Sampradaya. Directly in the disciplic chain from Brahma to Narad, from Narad to Vyas, from Vyas to Madhva Muni, from Madhva Muni to Madhvendra Puri, from Madhvendra Puri to Ishupuri, from Ishupuri to Lord Chaitanya, and gradually to His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Swami, and our Divine Master, and Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. One who is thus initiated in the disciplic succession is able to achieve the same result or power of creation. Chanting of this holy mantra is the only shelter of the desireless, pure devotee of the Lord. Simply such tapasya or penance, the devotee of the Lord achieves all perfection like Lord Brahma. So we were talking about the disciplic succession last week. So here's mentioned how our sampradaya works. And so all this knowledge that we are using or we are preaching is not our own mental speculation. It's come down all the way from Lord Krishna to Brahma to Narad and so on. It's been passed on. And that is the only way pure knowledge, transcendental knowledge can operate. No, we cannot manufacture transcendental knowledge. We can manufacture our own mental speculations, but we cannot manufacture transcendental knowledge. It has to come straight from the Lord himself. So when he heard sound, he tried to find the speaker. So when he heard tapa, tapa, he tried to find the speaker. So he could see Lord Vishnu, but now he could hear him. This is the thing, now he could hear him. So he's trying to find out where is this sound coming from. So he's searching on all sides. But when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it was wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and gave his attention to the execution of penance. So very intelligently, he thought, well, I have been given instructions. So what's the point of wasting time trying to find this source and that source? I have been given specific instructions that I have to do this, and this is what I need to do. And these are same specific instructions to us, that don't speculate or try to jump the gun, try to find this and this, or until I know all this, I'm not going to start chanting, or I'm not going to believe anything. It's quite clear in the Bhagavad-Gita, follows the orders of the spiritual master, because through the spiritual master you will get the mercy of the spiritual master. Yasya prasada bhagavad prasado, yasya prasadana gati katopi. It's quite simple. Follow the instructions of the spiritual master. If you want the mercy, get the mercy of him and the Vaishnavas. So this is again mentioned here for Lord Brahma. So to achieve success in life, one should follow the example of Lord Brahma, the first living creature in the beginning of creation. After being initiated by the Supreme Lord to execute tapasya, he was fixed in his determination to do it. And although he could not find anyone beside himself, he could rightly understand that the sound was transmitted by the Lord himself. So he was very intelligent. He could work things out. Brahma was the only living being at that time, because there was no other creation, and none could be found there except himself. In the beginning of the first canto, in the first chapter, first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it has already been mentioned that Brahma was initiated by the Lord from within. The Lord is within every living entity as the super soul. And he initiated Brahma because Brahma was willing to receive the initiation. The Lord can similarly initiate everyone who is inclined to have it. So, yeah, if you want initiation, then you must want it. Or in other words, if you're getting initiated, then you must feel that you want to be initiated, because it's very important that you believe in it, you have faith in it, and you want to follow it. That's the important thing. Lord Brahma underwent penance for 1,000 years by the calculations of the demigods. He heard this transcendental vibration from the sky and he accepted it as divine. Thus he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus he is known as the greatest of all ascetics. Lord Brahma heard the occult sound tapa, but he didn't see the person who vibrated the sound, and still he accepted the instructions as beneficial for him. So there's a saying, Jaan lo, jaan nahi sakte to maan lo. So he couldn't find Lord Vishnu, so he just followed the instructions. Jaan lo, nahi jaan sakte to maan lo. Simple as that. So, and still accept the instruction as beneficial for him, and he engaged himself in meditation for 1,000 celestial years. So one celestial year is equal to 6 times 30 times 12 times 1,000 of our years. Actually, in other words, it's mentioned here like I think one day of the demigods. Some places I've heard is 1 year, some places I've heard is 6 months. So one or the other, I think it's 6 months of the demigod is 1 of our years. And Lord Brahma meditated for 1,000 years. His acceptance of the sound was due to his pure vision of the absolute nature of the Lord. And due to his correct vision, he made no distinction between the Lord and the Lord's instruction. So the Lord's instruction is the same as the Lord himself. the spiritual master's instruction is same as the spiritual master himself. So Prabhupada is not here, but we follow him in his, not in his Vapu, but we follow him in his Vani. Vani is same as Vapu, as his spiritual body. So there is no distinction between the Lord and sound vibration coming from him, even though he is not personally present. The best way of understanding is to accept such divine instruction. And Brahma, the prime spiritual master of everyone, is the living example of this process of receiving transcendental knowledge. So you can see stage by stage that all these are instructions for us. He's the first living being. He's our, could say, our grandfather, right? Or great-great-grandfather. First living being. Whatever we are expected to do, Lord Brahma did as well. And he to show us that this is the way to get transcendental achievement. So the best way of understanding is to accept such divine instruction. Brahma, the prime spiritual master of everyone, is a living example of the process of receiving transcendental knowledge. The potency of the transcendental sound is never minimized because the vibrator is apparently absent. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad-Gita or any revealed scripture in the world is never to be accepted as an ordinary, mundane sound without transcendental potency. One has to receive the transcendental sound from the right source, accept it as a reality, and prosecute the direction without hesitation. The secret of success is to receive the sound from the right source of bona fide spiritual master. Mundane manufactured sound has no potency, and as such, seemingly transcendental sound received from an unauthorized person also has no potency. So you're wasting a time if the person is not from authorized in an authorized position. In other words, if he's just doing for entertainment or for as a livelihood, then has no potency. One should be qualified enough to discern such transcendental potency, and either by discriminating or by fortunate chance, if one is able to receive the transcendental sound from the bona fide spiritual master, his path of liberation is guaranteed. The disciple, however, must be ready to execute the order of the bona fide spiritual master. So if you receive the instruction, then you must be ready from your side to execute it, as Lord Brahma executed the instruction of his spiritual master. So now we're just getting the instruction, like Srila Prabhupada got the instruction from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami to follow the instruction of going to the West, and he kept that in his mind, and when the time was right for him, he followed the instruction. And that is the secret of success. So Lord Brahma controlled his two grades of senses by means of sense perception and sense organs, because he had to engage such senses in the execution of the order of the Lord. Therefore, controlling the senses means engaging them in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Lord's order descends in his disciplic succession through the bona fide spiritual master. And thus, execution of the law of the order of the bona fide spiritual master is factual control of the senses. Such execution of penance in full faith and sincerity made Brahmaji so powerful that he became the creator of the universe. Just reading about Jayapataka Maharaj, he was saying that if you are sincere, you get unlimited mercy. And if you are not sincere, then the mercy is limited, and sooner or later it will run out. But even if you commit mistakes, or we sometimes don't get things right, but we're still sincere and we are trying to do the right thing, then we still get unlimited mercy. So Brahmaji here got so powerful that he became the creator of the universe. And because he was able to attain such power, he is called the best amongst all the tapasvis. After tapasya now, Brahmaji could see that on the water there was a gigantic lotus-like white bedstead. Now, before he heard Lord Vishnu, now actually he can see Lord Ananta on the ocean, on the water. he could see the body of Sheshnag. This is after his tapasya, on which the personality of Godhead was lying alone. The whole atmosphere was illuminated by the rays of the jewels bedecking the hood of the Sheshnag, and that illumination dissipated all the darkness of those regions. Lord Brahma saw Ananta Shesha lying in the waters of the Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu ocean. His gigantic white body creating a bedstead on which Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu lay. The radiance of the jewels of bedecking Ananta's 1,000 hoods dissipated darkness. Certainly the exquisite form of Krishna dressed as a cowherd boy. So he even saw Krishna himself dressed as a cowherd boy manifested before Brahma, with one lotus-like foot crossed in front of the other, revealing the auspicious marking on his soul. Lord Brahma considered this vision to be the greatest reward for all his meditations and the fulfillment of all his desires. As Lord Brahma gazed at him in astonishment, Krishna again manifested himself as Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu. So just quick glance, quick flash of appearance, and then he became Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu, lying on Ananta. And this is like where he saw Lord Krishna, and he wrote in the Brahma Samhita, Govindamadi Purusham. Lord Brahma realized that this mountainous form was the Supreme Lord. Searching for a clue how to render service of creating the universe, Brahma saw only Vishnu's deep navel filled with water, along with the lotus flower which emerged from it, as well as the devastating waters surrounding him, the blowing wind which was drying those waters, and the sky. Understanding these to be the causes of creation and infused by the mode of passion, he became eager to commence his service. Still, he was unsure how to begin, thus he began to petition the Lord with respectful praise. So next week, we'll talk about Lord Brahma's praise. What praise he's done all this tapa, and then next week he's going to go on to do the praise, asking for more mercy and asking for the intelligence and the knowledge that how he can serve the Lord, and then he will get that mercy from the Lord to create. So thank you all for listening, and thank you all for joining this morning. My father-in-law is there, which I was with him a couple of days ago. And Geetanjali Mataji, Rukmani Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Partha Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, Prem Prakash Prabhu, Sarveshwari Mataji, and Shakti ABC. Thank you all for joining. And I would love to have your points of view and your understanding. We'll start with, this is a very nice description of everything. It's gone by stage. I think we'll go to Jai Prabhu and get his version, because that will be a launching pad for a discussion. Jai Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So, before Brahma appears and this lotus flowers appears, we have Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu lying alone on his bed, the great snake Ananta. So during this time of dissolution, all the living entities are unmanifest and exist as subtle bodies only. So the Lord's been lying down for
1,000 demigod years.
So 4 yogas, which is I think equivalent to one day of Brahma anyway. And so agitated by the mode of passion, subtle form of creation pierces through the abdomen of the Lord. The bud of the lotus flower was generated from the personality of Vishnu, and by his supreme will, it illuminated everything. So Lord Vishnu personally entered into the lotus flower as the super cell, and it was impregnated with with the modes of nature. So Brahma was born from this lotus flower. Brahma was his first living being, and because of that, he's known as Swayambhu. So at first, Brahma could not see anything, but now later, being situated in the lotus flower, couldn't fully understand, the creation, the lotus. He couldn't understand himself or, the reason for his existence and birth. So, as you mentioned, I think he goes up and down the stem of the lotus. He couldn't find the roots, and so I think he gives up and comes back. He hears the word tapa. So I think he goes into meditation following this. So at the end of Brahma's meditation, so when he was complete, he says he went to meditation for 100 years. I mean, that's the length of his lifespan, so I don't get that. But anyway, when his meditation was complete, he developed the required knowledge and could see the Lord within his own heart. As soon as he saw Lord Vishnu, he acquired the knowledge to create the the material planets. Let's see. So yeah. So we should to achieve success in life, we should all follow the example of Lord Brahma, and mention the transcendental Shan we should acquire from a proper authorized spiritual master. So yes. Yeah. I think yeah. I mean, the life of Brahma is 310. I think 311 trillion years. I mean, this seems amazing and very long, but compared to eternity, it's nothing. Yeah, I'll leave it there. I think. I mean, you mentioned he's seen he's seen the Lord in the description of seeing the Lord. So after that, yeah, I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Jai Prabhu. Wonderfully summarized. Yeah, I mean, he saw Lord Krishna himself, and just a quick glimpse of Lord Krishna, and I think that was probably his basis for writing the Brahma Samhita. That was enough. If anybody can get a chance to see Lord Krishna, that's it. They don't need anything else. And he was so inspired by that, and it was mercy of that the Lord that he showed himself to him, that look, this is what I really look like, and there are other aspects of my energies or my expansions. But he met the boss himself, so to speak, and the rest are his following his orders. So a beautiful scenario there. And now we're following the Lord Brahma's example. Exactly, we're following in his footsteps. I mean, we're not expected to create a universe, right? That's not our job. But at the same time, we're not expected to do tapasya for 1,000 demigod years either. So, as punishment should meet the crime, our reward meets our penance, isn't it? We're not. We are minute creatures, and we don't have the strength and the power to do a lot of penance. So doing a half-day fast is usually more than enough for us. Things like that. So Krishna knows our limitations, and he gives us little bit to do in terms of austerity and penance, and we follow that. Then we get the reward accordingly, which is usually enough for our lives or our capabilities. So not too much expected from us in terms of generating anything, and not too much is expected from us in terms of penance. But what is usually enough to take us back home, as Prabhupada mentioned. Main thing we need to do is to be sincere in our approach. We should do it to please Krishna, whatever we are doing. Follow the order of spiritual master to please Krishna, and that in the Kali Yuga, not too much is expected. Thank you so much, Jai Prabhu. Rukmini Mataji, would you like to say something?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Very, very brilliant class. And this is all beyond our imagination, exactly. But I will ask Shri Krishna to give his Lord's mercy, and this transcendental potency. So it's very difficult to understand with our material brain. So I think we just ask Lord's mercy, and we are every day singing the Aarti in the morning Aarti, the one shlok from the Brahma Samhita, that is Govindam Adi Purusham. So that is all enough for us. We don't need to do so much things. Just Brahma listen, the tapa. So that means we all have to meditate, and one of the shlok is enough for us, Brahma Samhita. So we are lucky. We can't read the all Brahma Samhita. It's a very big chapter. So I'm satisfied about this, that Brahma Samhita we sing every day, and we have to just chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That's it, Prabhuji.
That's it. Wonderful. But yeah, hear and chant. That's all we need to do, isn't it? Main thing.
Otherwise, it is very difficult to understand all these big books and scriptures. It's not our capacity.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right.
That's it,
Yeah.
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. That's beautiful. Thank you. Okay, Parveen Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Humble obeisance to everyone. Yeah, basically, like, perfection of life is only attained by devotional service in a disciplined succession. And you mentioned about the sincerity. So we have to follow the do's and don'ts sincerely. So yeah, that's it, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Excellent class.
Thank you,
Nicely
Mataji.
summarized by Jai Prabhu. Yes, thank you. And
Thank
also,
you.
like the shlokas from Gita 18.65 and 6.6. So they are very, Lord Krishna is giving clear instructions as well. So we just have to follow our Guru's instructions, do's and don'ts, and just remember these two shlokas. So shall I just recite the shlokas, Prabhu?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's
Man manabhav mad bhakto madhyajimam namaskaru mame veshyasi satyante pratijani prayosi me. So where Krishna says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promised you this because you're my very dear friend. And 18.66 Sarv dharman paritajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami mashucha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So we just have to remember that all the time and not worry, and become fearless. And like Mataji said, just chant and be happy. So we just yeah. So all we need is love for Krishna and faith, and we will be very happy, and we are very happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Always love to hear from Prakash Prabhu, but nowadays on listening only, so he's busy. Not to worry. And we'll ask Sveshi Mataji. Please, Mataji, give us your realizations.
Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Brahma is one of the guna avatars. He has taken mode of passion. There are three modes, guna avatars, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva. And Brahma is the mode of passion. He took mode of passion to create the material world, because this material world is full of passion. Brahma was perplexed, could not understand about his creation, the lotus he was in, and the planetary system as well. There was planetary system in that lotus as well. Brahma could not understand who he was. Only through the mercy of Lord he found out his situation. And then when he couldn't find anything, then the goddess of learning, it's in Brahma Samhita, it says that goddess learning, the divine consort of Supreme Lord Saraswati said to Brahma, who Brahma saw nothing but gloom in all directions, with the sweet voice, the Saraswati Mother said to Brahma, "Oh Brahma, you chant the Gayatri mantra." This Gayatri mantra sprung from the flute of song of Sri Krishna. And Brahma started to chanting that Gayatri mantra. It's the Gopal Gayatri mantra. When you initiated, you are giving 8 Gayatri mantras. So one of the 7th one is, I think, Gopal Gayatri mantra. And then Brahma started chanting, and he was initiated by Lord Krishna. And then he had stated the status of twice born. When you are initiated second time, that means what? Twice born. First born is your mother and father, and the second birth is your from spiritual master. And the Krishna is original, like Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he explained himself in a plenary portion, like Purusha avatars, Karandai Viṣṇu, Garbhodakaśāyī Viṣṇu, Childai Viṣṇu, the plenary portion. But it doesn't mean to say that they're not equal to Krishna. They're all Krishna. The same power they got. Because Krishna gave them the power. But the Krishna is original. It's just like the example of a candle. There's a main candle, but you can light so many candles from that candle. All the candles got the same strength, but it's not the original. Original is Krishna. And Brahma prayed, and he done austerity for 1,000 celestial years. And he done devotional service. And he pleased Krishna. When Krishna was happy with him, then he showed himself and he showed his abode as well. So Brahma could see the abode of Lord Krishna. And then he started praying, and he said, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidanand Vigrana Radhe Bhavadya Sakaran Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. He is the cause of creation, he is the cause of maintenance, he is the cause of dissolution. He is the cause. He says, that's why you are the cause of all causes. And then when he seen the abode, he was very surprised, wonderful. He said, Chintamani prakara sadmasu kalbriksha laksa vere suru subha parantam lakshmi sasara satsara sambhavan govindamati purusham sambhajami. That it was self-illuminated. Krishna's abode, you don't need light or anything. And there's thousands and thousands of Lakshmi Devi serving so many Surabhi cows. And Krishna was, and then he just continued praying, which we might discuss next week. And so we should understand that anything, and if we want anything, we need mercy of Krishna, we need mercy of Guru Maharaj, Guru. And when it's not only mercy, you have to do the devotional service, especially in hearing, because Brahma could understand everything by hearing. So first, in devotional service, first is hearing. You must hear. If you don't hear, you don't know anything. So without the mercy of Krishna, you can't be a devotee. And who takes you to Krishna? Spiritual master take you to Krishna. And because Krishna instructed, he comes in the heart of spiritual master and tells that this devotee needs initiation. And then this is all mercy of Krishna. So that's how we get connected with our parampara system. We are all connected to Krishna through our discipline succession. So it's very important to austerity, just like we're doing Ekadashi and we fasting for Janmashtami. This is austerity. We're doing only one fraction, but they were doing for thousands, thousands, and millions of years. At that time, they could because they had a longer life as well. We haven't got longer life, with short life. So we need mercy of Krishna, mercy of spiritual master, and the mercy of senior devotees as well. The devotees, they engage you in your devotional service. Like in a temple, when you go, you don't know what to do. So then some devotee will say, Mataji or Prabhuji, can you do this? That it's their mercy. Without the mercy of the devotees, you can't do anything. So Brahma has shown us the example that is done tapasya to achieve, to create the world. So we're not creating the world, but we can do something else. We can save Krishna, we can pray and ask Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Radhi. Thank you. That's wonderful. Okay, let's well, like I said, next week, Brahmaji will tell us how he prayed to the Lord. Like Parveen Mataji mentioned, she wanted some prayers. Well, here's a prayer that Lord Brahma used. Prayer is always very helpful when you want something. So, Parveen Mataji, you have your hand up, please.
Yes, yeah, Prabhuji, I just wanted to ask you quickly, when we say hearing, so my understanding was hearing about the pastimes of Krishna, so hearing to the katha. So is that the correct meaning of hearing, the first part of devotional service? Oh, because I can't remember, somebody was saying like hearing is like when you're chanting. Yeah, okay, I understand. When we chant, we have to say, so we have to hear as well when we're chanting the mantra. So what is the exact meaning when they say hearing? Is it about the pastimes? Oh,
It includes everything, Mataji.
okay.
Hearing, when we're chanting, hearing the mantra is very important because the mantra should go from my ears into the heart. Because it's the heart we're trying to clean. So the mantra has to enter the ear, which travels to the heart. So to clean the heart. And secondly, we have to hear the pastimes of Krishna and the pastimes of his devotees as well. So everything's included in the hearing. About Krishna, we hear about Krishna, and then we hear about his devotees, so people linked with him. Srimad Bhagavatam, there's so many personalities that like now we're talking about Maitri Muni and Vidura Muni, so this is all part of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we hear about Prahlad and other personalities. Everything is very important because these are all purifying. Yeah, all these purifying by listening is what purifies the heart. That's we're trying to purify ourselves. Yeah. So thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So, Mataji, would like to make a start on the first round. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nama Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharne Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarine